Welcome back, Revolutionary Hearts. I'm popping on today because there's a subject I've been wanting to do a recording about for a while now, and it's really this truth that I have come to realize about the value of I'm going to call it our quest, or the value of our heroine's journey, our journey to become the women we were born to be of service and have the impact that we are here to create. And it's this idea that oftentimes we are called to take a next step. We're called to create something or do something. We have an inspiration, and I'm going to give you an example that probably would be a lot more helpful. So personally, I just finished my 100th episode of my podcast, Trust Your Sacred Feminine Flow. And this is a podcast that I have had for the last 4 years. And it feels like a big milestone to me to have passed the 100 episode mark. And so it's giving me a lot of pause for reflection and to consider how much I have changed and grown, not just by virtue of doing the podcast, but the podcast has kind of been an arc throughout my life over these last 4 years. And a couple of these years have been, I would say, some of the hardest in my adult life, or at least up there. If not the hardest, then a close second. And when I was inspired to create this podcast, it was about 4.5 years ago, and I was listening to a podcast called The Divine Feminine Spotlight with Shan Vanderleek, who, as it turns out, is my podcast mentor and producer. And Shan had a podcast where she would interview women who were on the cutting edge of transformational growth and feminine-based spirituality. And I knew when I listened to her that I just needed to create my own version, to join that conversation and to bring my perspective and to engage with the feminine leaders who were developing the new forms of transformational work from a feminine perspective. I needed to connect with them and help support their efforts in reaching more people in the world. And so when I started, I just had that idea, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. And that may be true for you in whatever your inspiration is to do, whether it's to write a book or to, start a class or get certified in something. And so what I'm here to say today is that there is value in pursuing that. There is value not just in the outcome of what is created, and I certainly am thrilled with the outcome of my podcast, both the women I've been able to reach, with the episodes I've been able to produce. I feel really proud about that. But the thing that is most impactful in my life is the ways that it has changed me to show up and to create and to consistently offer this podcast. And it's my hope that the same thing is going to occur with this channel, with this YouTube channel. And so I want to say to you that it matters, and we don't get to necessarily jump to the end goal of, I want to be here, this is what I want things to look like, or I imagine things will look like. And they may in fact look like that when you are having your greatest impact. But there is so much value in the step by step by step in the each project, each effort, each attempt, each trying something new, each learning curve. Like, oh my God, can we talk about the learning curves? So many learning curves, and just the way that we have to sometimes dig deep into our inner resources to meet the challenge. Sometimes we get surprised by who we are and what we're capable of that we didn't even know. And it's all worthwhile. It's all worthwhile. So I just want to encourage you to get out there and to take the risk, to give it a try. If you're feeling that nudge, if you're feeling that push, go ahead and take the first step. Go ahead and do that. And if you're listening to this, I want to also invite you to join us in honor of my 100th episode. I have created a series, a 19-day series on trust, where I have interviewed a number of my former guests and a few of my future guests on the subject of trust. Because couldn't we all use a little more of that? Finding those things that are genuinely trustworthy and finding the ways to open to that deeper sense of trust. So you can do that both. Actually, the episodes are going to be popping up here on YouTube, but we have a community, the Trust Talk Session community, and we're doing daily giveaways during the course of the sessions. So if you listen to this and you haven't joined us yet, come join us in the Facebook group, Trust Talk Session Community, and it's at Trust Talk Sessions on Facebook. The last thing, I have a big, exciting announcement coming up. I think it may be as soon as next week. My book, The Radiance Equation, the ebook, is coming out free for you. It's the Visionary's Guide to coming out of hiding, owning your wisdom, and creating your greatest impact. Until next time, sending you my love.